Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Davey. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Georgie. That 3% move up or 6% down today. Maybe we're getting that point where we could see a small rip your face off rally, whether it's today triggered by Fed speakies or tomorrow. We'd really need something to snap to get that major down day after this many down days, and we're getting a volatility compression again, getting labored to the downside. So, yet theoretically, yes, we could snap to the downside. I'm more expecting something to trigger tomorrow. We'll talk about a couple things. Hey, Waka Waka, EU rate hike. Let's see the market bleed. That's pretty, I mean, the EU rate hike at this point, I think, is baked in at that 75. If they go 50, it's going to get interesting, though. If they do less than expected, that is tomorrow. And we got Powell speaking. Good morning, options 22. Hello, Lauren. We're close to June low, ready to buy the dip. All right, well, Coco's ready to buy the dip. Hope you got some chips to go with that dip. Let's see. Oh, by the way, people are expecting the market to go up, so I see market going down. Major possibility, but I mean, with probability wise, we see it. But when we start seeing compression like this with overbought, yeah, anything can happen. But I think there might be a slight fake out bounce the upside that then we get a ton of selling coming in. Any upside move, I think, is going to be a fake out. By the way, we had the Fed mouthpiece, Nick Timiraos in the Wall Street Journal, uh, talking about Fed's teeing up another 75 basis point hike. He's considered the Fed uh, unofficial mouthpiece, so keep that in mind. I think that's coming out is quite interesting. Let's just see. Let's see what that looks like with our Fed watch. I mean, when I refreshed it earlier, it was up to 82% on that 75 basis point. Let's just see if it's updated again. 84%. And this is getting close to fully baking in that 75 basis point hike. Today, we did have, balance of trade, but a red book, I know it's not widely followed, but coming in, again, not inflation adjusted and coming in way lower than expected and previous. So, get the consumers, I think, is getting close to tapping out now. We got Barkin speaking now. We got Mester at 9 a.m. Central. Brainerd at 11:35 Central. We got Beige Book. Of course, it always comes out at 1 Central. And you got Barr speaking then also. So, lots of Fed speaks today, and remember ECB rate hike and Powell speaking tomorrow. So if we're going to get some pivot, it could be today or tomorrow, and I'm expecting any move to the upside to probably be a fake out move. Pretty mixed to flat this morning, except for crude. Crude's down, and financial things are down. Everything else is pretty much mixed. FOMC, we talked about 84. We're still in negative gamma. That's why you could see an aggressive, if we do get a bounce, it could be more aggressive and then be a whipsaw in with this negative gamma territory. I also thought I'd put up. This is actually a good contrary indicator to CNN free. You can just go to CNN Business, the Fear and Greed Index. I thought I'd start covering this. Why? We were in neutral. We are dropping the fear. When we get watch 25, when you get into extreme fear, because that's generally when you put in a more sustainable bounce. So if we get a bounce, it's at this point based off the contrary indicator. But once we start dropping into extreme fear again, and we get major oversold, and we get longer term cycles of bottom, start watching. So we'll start watching this as it drops below that level. But any bounce here would just be a temporary one. Just wanted to point that out. NIO was down this morning. Academy Sports was up a little. Other than that, not much. GameStop after hours today. American Eagle Outfitters, Dave and Buster's. Dave and Buster's will be interesting from a consumer's perspective also. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. And for all you meme players with GameStop, there you go. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, we have the Apple event today. So it'll be interesting while that's going on to see if we get any slight bounce in Apple. Yeah, see? George with the French onion or salsa con queso. You know what? I am a French onion dip fanatic. I love French onion dip. I mean, literally, I can eat it with a spoon. I am crazy that way. So I have it like twice a year. Hey, Chris. Read somewhere 1.5 trillion margin call inbound. There's a lot of the from the energy situation. There's a lot of in Europe. There's a lot of margin calls coming in. It's going to get interesting. The whole European uh, energy thing's gonna this. It's just going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a wild ride. Good morning, Sashi. Double bottom on Nvidia. Any thoughts, comments, Mike? Big negative. The thing that I just learned Kathy Wood is buying. We'll take a look at that. Remind me in a second. Let's see. Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin did break. Let's get through. Let's just get through the markets. So, you get this little. We're starting to get a rounded bottom, which is why we'll start watching. And any bounce to me is going to look and I'm going to be watching to tap the daily rotation zone, which at this point would only wipe out not even the highs for a couple days. It would literally wipe out September 2nd and 6th moves. That's about it. We are pegged at the bottom for daily cycles. Weekly is heading down there. So we could see a few more days, but we're getting that area with oversold for a pop. By the way, a close above today's high would just be a very short-term bounce trade. So that's one of the key levels I am watching. And intraday, nothing's really changed since what I talked about last night. 39.20. 39.20. I'm bumping down this next level a bit based off it not being able to get. So above 39.20, I'm targeting 39.36 and 39.61. Key support 38.90. We break below 38.90. I'm targeting 38.74. And I pulled off those head and shoulder targets yesterday, but we would have officially hit them now. All right. Also, you can see here that 12.5. If we do get a little bounce, that 39.40 is going to be a very key area. It's going to be interesting today to see if we do close or we stand above that 62.5. Also remember, major put gamma at that 3,900. It's got to either. That's another point that I'm going to go back to who said that? Was that George? You know, the 6% down. We need to get some serious momentum to really break that 3,900. This dribbling effect, this blah, 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 to the downside, there's enough pressure with that major strike there that it takes a lot to break it. This is weakening it. Again, why I would not be surprised to see a bounce to trap a lot of people who are saying, oh, it should be a bigger bounce because we're so oversold, and then start really crushing that level. Could we theoretically break down with momentum? If we do get a major momentum play below 3,900, I got to go with it, though. I got to go even with this oversold conditions. Would prefer to see the bounce than the major momentum play because that's more sustainable. Remember, we did close below the 62.5 on the NAS. And the NAS trying to put in a little bottom here. Really working on it. You can watch this. This is horribly sloppy, but the reason I'm using it is it ties in with some key areas I'm watching. It is this, because this hitch in there, this hitch with this and this sloppy pattern, but it's virtually at this 1270. We get above that, My target areas are then 12,136 to 12,145 and then 12,195 to 12,200. To the downside, we need some major to get through 11,900, 11,904. That's my key support. So even if we start dipping below these lows from earlier today and yesterday's, 11,900 and 11,867. Major support if we were to snap 11,736. Now, longer term, we should still go to 11,402. Dow, I'm just going to blaze through this. Off the open, I'm going about 31,200, and then my target is 31,360. Back to the breakdown zone, and that's 62.5. If we did get some momentum on, it's 31.5. Key support still 30,900, then 30,791, 30,008. The only one left on that is the Russell. We're virtually there. Key resistance, if we do break the upside, still 1803. And then I'm going back to about 1810, then 1825. Miners still 1775. DAX. Interesting enough, this didn't rotate down just enough yet, but going off the DAX, breakdown is 1730 and breakout is, that's going to be interesting. This isn't invalidated yet going into the ECB rate heights above 12,878, but we could see a very muted market in the DAX. Notes. Again, rallies still watching for the rollover play. We're not yet down at 115.07. In this area, 115 to 114, 115.07 to 114.07, I will watch for a potential shorter term bottoming pattern. Other than that, hands off. This is just a bounce with trying to get these daily cycles back to the top. Dollar index continuing to push higher. Still 111 the next target on that. Pullback is now 110 for major support. VIX, here's what I'm keying off of. If we start really getting a push above 27, then I'm going to watch for a potential retest of that low area today. And my target is about 27.90 to 28 until we really get a move above 28. Not going for major momentum to the downside. Key support coming in at 25.50. So even if we get choppy to the upside, can't get even more sustainably bullish until at least above the VIX drops below 25.50. Crude breaking down below the mid-August lows. Hit the next harmonic area. We're watching 83.82 now. My next target is 81.69. Oops. And then we got the first target on that double, which is the major one. I'm targeting 77.54. So that's what I'm watching, but I'm really focused now. This would be a stop lower, and now 81.69. Natural gas, by the way, talked about that on the podcast. Hit all the targets. That is done. The only thing that makes me get negative again, actually that's slightly off. I have to update those targets. Sorry for change them slightly from the podcast, but want to be correct. That's the only thing. We need a close below this low 7,589. Or sorry. The low is 7,532. Need a close before I can get bearish. Going to watch for a short pop in this. Yen is just this thing's getting insane. They're going on a massive bond buying. I'm watching now. My next target based off this is I'm watching for this to literally hit this 148.59. Not before we possibly get a pullback, but before we get a blow off top is 159. Euro consolidation, not pretty much touching anything with the euro in front of ECB rate hikes tomorrow. So that's where we sit with there. Bitcoin breaking down, hitting that 87.5% target. Remember, close below 62.5 back from the 26th of August. We now hit that first target, but no strong bottoming position there yet. So nothing to do on Bitcoin. Tesla The only thing that would make me very short term, I mean, micro short term bullish would be a close on the 4 or daily above 282.31, 290.39, 294.43, 298.47, returning to the 200, which has been key resistance area. Remember, the 200 is an area. Other than that, the we have the probability still to the downside: 262.23, 253.66. 245.10. If we get that pop in a NASDAQ, that's the only way also I start watching for a little upside momentum in Tesla. Your spiders and Qs. Spiders sitting roughly 390.59. Yesterday's lows 388.42. If we do get some pressure to the downside, watching yesterday's lows and the 62.5 harmonic. That 62 is 388.21 on a closing basis. That's not for the short term. That's more for a long term. For the short term still 391. Above 391 is the little short-term pop play, and that short-term pop play, I'd be watching for the emotional candle area and the declining 1-hour rotation zone 393.52. The Qs, by the way, those slightly bigger doubles are still in play, not expecting them to trigger, and also the Qs hitting the final targets on the head and shoulders or the topping head and shoulders pattern. The play is 294.20 roughly, and then it's the emotional candle close. The emotional candle close with this resistance band about 295.95 with the top of the 1-hour rotation zone. That's the bullish side. Only thing for my breakdown play is 292. 292. And then it would be targeting these key lows, 290.88 and then 289.40. You can use the harmonics in there too. Remember, Apple event today, NVIDIA is that little double, and you have the gap. If we do get that little bounce, remember, these are only short-term bounce plays. This could actually be decent, if and not necessarily for today, but if we do get a little bounce above 140, 166. I need at least a 4-hour close above that. Unless major momentum, I watch for that 1-hour close, and that's for today and tomorrow. Then the targets would be 146.14, 148.37, and interesting enough, the full gap fill on this is 150.95, and the target is 150.61. So you got that cluster right there, and that'd be just a return to the 4-hour rotation zone, the top of it, and getting out of this oversold and tapping into the daily rotation zone for another potential short play, but would not touch this to the long side unless that triggers. By the way, a front run pattern is if you get the daily close above yesterday's high. So if we start trading up, you get the intraday move above yesterday's high or another intraday reversal pattern to go long, and then it rolls into a close above yesterday's high. It would be for a short-term pop play, and then the first target would be from the second high. A close above there would be rolling into a double on the daily only. Let's see. Well, we know Bitcoin, we're going to see that 11,000 sooner rather than 11. Canada's been unafraid to do a massive hike before. They could do that. It would not surprise me. Yes, thank you for putting that in. Options 22, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 Eastern time for the Apple event. Recession is not old news, Coco. There's a lot of people who still there. I see so much stuff. Soft land. Everybody's forcing the soft landing narrative. I don't think the recession is baked in at all, and the recession play is not baked in from an earnings compression level whatsoever. That wasn't a lot of downside, William. Yeah, Mama Kathy passed. You know, before we see this market major bottom, ARC will be done for. So, yeah, that's exactly how I'd look to do Nvidia, because there could be a little upside play. And you know, some people rush into this. Oh, it's oversold. We're going for the big pop. Remember, on Nvidia, we still have massive downside, and we have closed below that 62.5 way back in June on a weekly basis. So I'm still longer term targeting. My next short term target is this major support ledge and the 200 on the weekly. Do not ignore that if we do push lower, because that's going to be some key major support, 127 area. But my overall long term target, I'm watching when the market really takes a beating, is back to $70 with an interim of 103. Let's just peek at Apple, and then I'm wrapping this up. Let's just see if there's any plays. If I could type. Again, Apple still coming back. I can't get overly bearish on Apple until we get below 146.71. But short term, there's a minor play. If we go in the Apple event for a pop, I'll be targeting about 156.50 if we do get a pop. Key support is coming in at 152.60, 152.60 to 153 on a very short-term basis. But there would be a little potential pop play on Apple. And then above, if a close above to yesterday's high, would just be a pop play back to the return to the daily rotation zone. So, with that, hope everyone has a wonderful trading day. Where do we sit with the S&P going into the open? Not much. Not much. The early warning sign for a breakout play is if it can get at least, I'll be watching around the 15 minutes after the open to see if we can sustain a close above about 39.13. But remember, we could stay in some either choppy bearish to choppy bullish throughout today going into tomorrow. Unless, I don't expect any of the Fed speakies today to say something earth-shattering. All right, with that, I will wrap it up. We'll be here back again after the close. So talk to everyone later. Bye for now.